Board Games Insider, a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. But just how did Tom Vasel allow this to happen? The world may never know.
This is Board Games Insider, where publishers Ignacy Trzewiczek, president of Portal Games, and Stephen Buonocore, president of Stronghold Games, discuss the hobby board game industry from the inside, providing you with news, advice, and a look behind the curtain into both of their companies. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Ignacy and Stephen.
Hello, this is Ignacy Trzewiczek, Portal Games, and today with me the very special guest of honor.
And this is Stephen Buonocore, president of Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios. This is episode 134. We are recording it on February 25th, 2020, from an undisclosed location in America. This episode, we are Board Games Insider and a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And guess what? I just ate breakfast with Tom Vasel, and he didn't make me choke on my meal. Because I am in Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is where Dice Tower West, Tom's second convention, happens each year. And this is going to happen this week. And it's a very exciting time to be here. I get to spend time with Tom and the gang, and of course show off some games, sell some games, and do bad things in Las Vegas.
Just before we,
how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Just before we go into the podcast, can you say just a few words about what's the size of the con and what you can compare it to?
Dice Tower West this year has grown to about, allegedly, now I didn't get the final number, Tom gave me something this morning, 1,800 people. So
nice.
We'd call it a regional convention. That's the size. So in the past, Dice Tower East has gone up like to 3,500, though he's scaling that down this year. Substantially, because they're moving the location. They want a smaller convention there, and they want a larger than it has been convention here on the West Coast, so that you can have these two conventions and people sort of from one part of the country will go there and one part of the country will go to Florida to Dice Tower East. So
very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice size convention, and I think that it's going to be a very fun convention, give all of the good feel that the Dice Tower conventions and cruises have had over the time. So very happy.
Do you have there a booth, like there's exhibition vendors, etc., or just playing and gaming and having fun?
No, absolutely. Just like any convention, it is a fully featured convention. So there is an exhibit hall, and we have a small booth here, and we'll be selling some games, and of course, I'll be there speaking to the fans and hanging out and doing bad things in Las Vegas.
Awesome.
Well, what's happening over at Portal Games like these days?
These days, I have the new segment in my news. This segment is a release of the week. That means that I know my street date. I have it in the show notes. So we just released the product that is called Roman Banners. It is expansion for Empires of the North. Released on February 20th. Two new decks for the product. Very happy with the first feedback I can already see on social media. In my super awesome segment, it's called Brag of the Week. It is a new segment in my news section. Tom Vasel, Zee Garcia, and the gang just released their final video in the series of the best games of all time. They do it every single year. This is a very popular videos, and I want to brag that on the first spot on the Zee Garcia's list, 51st State, the game I designed. So I'm very happy to be designer of the best game ever in opinion of Zee Garcia. And Empires of the North, just mentioned, we are just released expansion Empires of the North on the 8th spot. So I have two games in top 10 of all time according to Zee Garcia. Very proud and very happy. So I think it is good for the brag of the week. And now we can move to the news of the week in my news segment. And the news of the week is that we just released a new free case for Detective. I mentioned it past few episodes, so just very short once again. For everybody who owns LA Crimes expansion, for everybody who bought this expansion, we have a super special secret gift. If they log into the website, they will find out that there is one hidden case, the fourth case in the campaign. So actually, If you buy the product, you have a free cases. This is a mini campaign. But then if you log in, you will find out the secret case standalone as fourth case. So this is news of the week. If you are playing detective, go to website and discover this new content. And tease of the week. I have so many segments in my news section. Tease of the week. When you are listening, it already happened. For me, it is a future. So for me, it is a tease. For you, it is a already happened thing. We opened pre-orders for the storage box for the Imperial Settlers. So storage box, some of the companies, I don't know if Stronghold Games did something like that. I think not yet. For the games that have so many expansions, like a huge line, I guess Terraforming Mars will need that very, very soon. Publishers release just an empty box that will, have all these places to keep all these expansions. So we will have this very fancy plastic insert that will hold all the cards from all expansions for the Imperial Settlers. There's so many cards already released. And this storage box is our website exclusive item. So we are taking pre-orders, we are going to manufacturer, we are print this product, and it will not be available through retailers, through distributors. It is only for the hardcore fans who have all these expansions and want to have this epic, majestic big box to keep them. And just to make it very clear, this product does not consist of the cards. It's just the storage box, yes. The last part of my news segment, invite of the week. Of course, I invite you to watch my vlog. We started new season. Yesterday, we posted the second episode of the new season, so you can see me and my team working on new games and Vienna Connection and Rise of the Empires and all that jazz. And you can see our headquarters and see my team. So this was well prepared. Congratulations, Ignacy. Thank you. A news segment from Portal Games.
Can you pat yourself on the back a little harder?
Of course.
It's not really coming through the 8,000 miles that we are apart at the moment. So I'm going to comment on your tease of the week storage solution. The single biggest item that I have been asked for Terraforming Mars, the single biggest is a
storage box.
Is a box, a huge box to put everything in. And I have told everybody I cannot release a box of air for many reasons, including the fact that retailers will kill me because they don't want to put it on their shelves, and we're not doing lots of sales direct, so it's not good. However, what if I released a box that was big, but there was maybe something else in it? Maybe. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
So this is double tease of the week.
Double tease of the week.
Awesome.
That's what we just did. The double tease of the week. Everyone remember that. But now I'm going to get in trouble because I'm teasing something, right? But anyway. All right. So over at Stronghold Games, we're going to go right into our releases. Just released is both Fast Sloths and Fast Sloths Next Holiday, the Freedom and Freeze game and the expansion to the Freedom and Freeze game, Fast Sloths. So, and they just did a Board Game Geek game night video episode on Fast Sloths. So, if anybody's interested in seeing how that game plays, you can watch the Board Game Geek people. They do that for games that they really like, and they just did it for Fast Sloths. So this is great. It comes out at a perfect time since the game has just been released, and now it's on Board Game Geek, and you can watch it. Watch how the game is played, and you can make a decision if it's a great game or not. I personally think it's a great game. Releasing tomorrow, but by the time you hear it, this will be released, is Luna Nova, or actually it's Nova Luna.
Oh.
We use the exact way that it's said in the way that they put it on the German box. We did it the same way. Normally we would say Luna Nova, but so Nova Luna by Uwe Rosenberg. That's going to hit February 26th, so check that out. We're going to have the Pursuit of Happiness Experiences expansion coming on April 8th, and then Ripple Rush, another game in our Roll and Write line. This one completely done and developed in-house by outside designer, but then developed in-house, not a partnership game as we've been doing with Schmidt-Spiele. And this game comes out on April 22nd. And I played this as a world premiere at TotalCon this past weekend in the Boston area. I was there as special guest of honor, Stephen Bonagor, and everybody loved it. Game plays in 10 to 15 minutes, fast, you can just turning cards over. You're writing on your sheet. You get to like kind of use other people's cards if they can't use them. Really a lot of fun. Great little filler game that you can play with anybody, family, grandma, and all kinds of stuff like that. So many other interesting, cool projects, as I just hinted at one, and then more of them coming. I just was on a call with good old Travis and someone else, and we've got 2 major looking Kickstarters at least happening with that person or company. There's another tease for you. So we'll be talking about those soon. And then the cons, I might as well talk about it because, guest of honor and all, Ignacio. Not you too much these days. Just at Total Con. Now I'm at Dice Tower West. I'll be at Gamma then. I actually have like 2 weeks of not being somewhere, a week and a half. March 9th through 13th, Gamma Trade Show in Reno, Nevada. I'll see my industry friends and retailer friends there. March 20th through 22nd at the Arizona Game Fair in Phoenix, Arizona as a guest of honor with Gil Hova. We're going to do if you don't mind, Ignacy, I talked to Gil. We're going to record a Board Games Insider episode there.
Absolutely.
We're going to have
Perfect.
Gil there.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a good idea, right? So I don't have to drive you crazy with this very late call for you. And we'll do it in front of a live audience. We'll have some fun with that. April 3rd to 5th at the Southern Board Game Fest in Lafayette, Louisiana. I am a guest of honor, my good friend BJ Rojas. Can't wait to see you, buddy. We're going to have some nice Cajun food when we're out there. And then April 10th to 19th at the Gathering of Friends. That's the Alan Moon Convention. So it is a really, really crazy busy travel season for me. And then we'll get into the meat of it, after that. Let's move over to our event deck.
The Event Deck. Here's the latest news from the board game industry.
All right, event deck.
We have. I see in the show notes we have 4 first news are about the transfers, so maybe we can cover them like in the one big news. Things are happening in the industry, and we have people from Asmodee going to PSI, from PSI to Asmodee, from Games Workshop to Asmodee, etc., etc. So tell us about details.
Here we go.
Transfers.
Well, we're talking about first the game developers found.
Oh yes.
Game developers.
That's very interesting.
So that's the first one actually. Let's go with that if that's okay. They created a new studio called Evergreen Studios. A group of game developers has formed Evergreen Studios, a new board game development studio. The founders are Daryl Andrews, Adrian Adamescu, that's a Sagrada, Sinister Six, Speakeasy Blues, who joined with Eli Gingerich, formerly from Maple Games, and Adam Singer. 3 of the 4 people in the new company are from Maple Games. Adamescu was a developer there from 2018 to 2019. Andrews was a co-founder of Maple Games in 2018 and also works for Floodgate Games. So this is they're creating a design studio here. It doesn't mention they will be doing Kickstarter games. It looks like small run games through Kickstarter.
Yes.
And the company's going to take ownership of Board Game Basecamp, which is an invite-only game retreat that's been running for 5 years. So interesting. They're going to be doing various things with people who've been in the industry, but they're going to be going with a kind of a smaller footprint, not a big publisher, but they're kind of a small. Going to do like a boutique, maybe you would call it that. Develop games in-house and then put them on Kickstarter for small print runs, and then also run a game retreat. So we wish them the best, since they're good friends that we've known and seen in various places in the industry for a long time.
Absolutely, and I will put it in the bucket of the transfers because three of these 4 people were working for the Maple Games. Like basically, Daryl started the Maple Games, right?
Maple.
Yes. And they are leaving the company and they are founding their new company. So there's also some transfers here.
Yep, that is a type of a transfer. Now we have. Like, as Ignacy said, we have 3 different people moving around the industry and taking new positions. We'll start with the big guys. Asmodee. Asmodee Entertainment hires a Game Workshop veteran as the licensing manager. Asmodee Entertainment, the intellectual property licensing division of Asmodee Group, has added Alexander Thime. Why do it's always these hard names for me? A 20-year veteran of Games Workshop as licensing manager, the company announced. And in that role, Theme will focus primarily on European licensing in the publishing, collectible, and other consumer products categories. At Games Workshop, Theme held marketing, licensing, sales, and other roles. So he's a veteran that's been around for a while and coming out of another big company, Games Workshop being, as we've talked about, a very big company that has been around for a while and constantly reinvents themselves, and they've gone from being on the brink of a bankruptcy almost, losing money, to now just killing it and doing just fantastically well. So we wish them, we wish Alexander great success in his new role over at Asmodee Entertainment.
Yep.
Followed by CMON co-founder David Daust is taking on a new role as the co-CEO of CMON Limited. By the way, I heard we're supposed to be calling them Come On, but I can't do it.
No, in a social media, everybody says Simon. Like, I never heard anybody saying come on.
Come on. So the company announced this. So in that new role, Daust will primarily be focused on expanding CMON's presence in Asia. CMON chairman and co-CEO Chan-An Eng explained the strategy. Quote, when David and I founded CMON, we always had global ambitions that encompassed Asia, he said. I'm glad that David Daust has agreed to lead CMON in a vigorous Asia-Pacific expansion, a region which we believe will come to rival other markets in size and profitability. So obviously, Asia-Pacific is a huge market. For the most part, we as an industry, we don't go and aggressively go after that market, language barrier being one of them. But CMON's got a big presence. It's their global headquarters is in the region, so it looks like they're going to focus very strongly and promoting David Daust to this role of co-CEO so that he can push that market really heavily.
I had a meeting in Nuremberg with CMON Asia. Of course, I cannot talk about the details of this meeting, but I can just confirm what you just said. They are thinking very strongly about this market and the plans they showed me, what they are already doing in this region, what are their plans, how they want to, of course, work with me and Portal Games. Very impressive. So I guess one of my small predictions of the year would be that we will cover some news about this region in upcoming months and CMON.
So, Ignacy, just whisper to me. What was the meeting about? Tell me what the meeting's about. Come on, no one's going to hear us. You're just going to whisper to me.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe my prediction comes true that they're going to buy Portal Games. Maybe. All right. I'm putting Ignacy on the spot. I love doing it. All right. So what else? Brian Bornmueller moves from Asmodee to PSI. He's going to assume the role of Director of Vendor Relations. So PSI, and we talk about them a lot on the show, they're my global sales agent, and they sell Portal Games also
Correct.
to various channels. PSI announced that it has hired Brian Bornmueller as the new Director of Vendor Relations. Bornmueller spent over 13 years with Fantasy Flight Games and Asmodee North America, filling multiple roles in those companies. Bornmueller has been brought into PSI to manage and provide direct oversight of the vendor relations team, as well as provide support to vendor clients across PSI's business channels. When asked if this was a new position or he had been replacing someone that left, Mike Krause, PSI's senior sales and marketing executive, responded, quote, yes and no. Our organization is of the size where Dean and myself, Dean Burnham is the president, or myself, have always been directly involved in this area, and we will remain directly involved. Brian affords us the opportunity to level up our efforts and provide ongoing, more impactful, and more direct support for vendors we service. Dean and Mike will remain heavily involved. So, do you know Brian? I know Brian very well from his time at Asmodee.
No, I had no chance to meet him.
Young guy. He's been around for 13 years, so I knew him when he was really young. Now he's not. I guess he's not so young now, but really nice guy, really smart, he's always friendly, and he's always out there talking to everybody who comes by. I think this is a great move for him, where, with all of the things that are going on as of day, and they're consolidating and, and they're shifting people around, to go to a great company like PSI, which is, stable. They've got their client base, and to take over the position where he's going to be sort of the people that we speak to every day. Like I speak to a gentleman by the name of Paul Chapman. When we talk to PSI about things, we have the conversations with Paul. Luke might speak to another person within PSI. Brian will be their boss, and he will have an overarching look at all of the vendors. They call them vendors, all of the publishers that are managed under PSI. So I think this is a great pickup for PSI and a nice opportunity for Brian to level up his operation and his role in the company.
And I have one additional comment on this news. I just double checked. Of course, I know Brian. I just didn't know his surname, so that's why I thought I didn't know him. Brian, of course, I know Brian. So yes, great person, and that's a great transfer. Now when I see the face, of course, perfect.
Yeah, good guy, really good guy. So Brian, congratulations on that, and PSI, congratulations. I think this is going to be a really good thing for them to do. So this is a really interesting thing that came up. I don't know if you read this article, Ignacy.
Of course I read.
Yeah, Stonemaier Games had a clerical error, and it created a North American shortage of Wingspan. So you guys got to listen to this one. It's pretty wild. So a clerical error in an order to the Chinese manufacturer of Stonemaier's hit game Wingspan led to most distributors in the U.S. and Canada receiving no copies from the recent, and he even tells you how many he printed, 21,520 copy print run. Company founder Jamie Stegmaier wrote in a blog post explaining why the company's web store was still selling copies while retailers are unable to get from the distributors. According to the post, Stonemaier initiated a 21,520 unit, which, by the way, I guarantee fills up an exact number of the containers. And my prediction is, based on the box size that I know of Wingspan, that's 3 containers, but never mind. So initiated the 21,000 plus print run of Wingspan. Unfortunately, the correct order number was 26,520, 5,000 more copies. Copies for prepaid distributor orders and North American distributors were allocated as if the correct number had been ordered, leaving only a few thousand copies for all remaining distributors in the U.S. and Canada. This presented quite a dilemma. Quote, this presented quite a dilemma as a few thousand copies of Wingspan can barely cover one distributor's orders, while there are nearly 10 major hobby game distributors in North America to whom we sell. Stegmaier wrote, our choice was to divide the few copies we had among those distributors, knowing that each will be frustrated for being heavily allocated and that local game stores in particular would end up receiving 1 or 2 copies at most, which would be frustrating for them. Or do we wait until we have a more robust supply of Wingspan? I decided to wait. So Stonemaier then put the available copies on his web store and is also shipping single case orders to individual retailers that order directly from the publisher. When will more copies arrive in North America? Stonemaier has a mid-sized print run in production, so its primary focus will be to serve demand for distributors in North America, Stegmaier wrote. An additional print run will arrive in July. Interesting that, we're human beings. I've said this many times. We are human beings, and mistakes happen. This is a mistake. And by the way, I believe Jamie, and I believe everybody says. He's a very honorable guy, and he's very, very open about his business. Neither you, Ignacy, nor I are nearly as open about numbers of print runs and profitability. And he really goes above and beyond to open the kimono, to show off everything he can about how his company works. So I believe that they literally had an accident in this print run size, and that he should have had 5,000 more. It is interesting to hear that he didn't place the small number that he did end up getting into the distributor's hands. I might have done that instead of selling them direct. So that could cause, obviously, some people to get angry, but he is fulfilling case unit orders to retailers as they need them. Hard to fault him for mostly what is an error in just placing the order. Ignacy, any comments?
Yeah, it's very hard for me to comment because this is a so strange situation for many years that we are doing this podcast, because it's already years.
Sure.
We never heard about such a news story that the publisher has mistake ordering the games, and then instead of sending it to the distribution, he sells it from the website. So it's very confusing, very strange. I absolutely agree with what you said about the Jamie. For me, Jamie is like a role model for the publisher. He is so open for the fans. He is I would not even say about how he amazing is in terms of the transparency and being honest, but how much he puts effort in educating, helping, like all these blogs about how to run Kickstarter. When I was preparing for the Kickstarter for my games, Petaporte and Struggle Undead, I read his blog post and I was learning from him. So for me, Jamie is a role model. But this news is so confusing that I better just shut up and because it's very, very strange.
It is. Always feel bad, when these things happen, because you're in a no-win position essentially. Someone's going to be mad at you. So it just depends on which tier is going to be mad at you. Yep. The gamers, the distributors, the retailers. Somebody's going to be mad when these things happen. So the next one is great news for the hobby game industry in general. Though not directly our portion. Magic the Gathering was up 30%, including digital, in 2019. Hasbro's total gaming was up 6%. So Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner told analysts in the earnings conference call Tuesday, by the way, stop it for the moment. They are a publicly traded company, so all of this stuff, all of their numbers, they're all up there. So if you're really into what big business is like, and you want to talk in the multi-billions instead of the less than millions that we talk in very often, you can go and online onto your favorite financial website, and you can see a lot of this information. Back to this. Brian Goldner, the CEO, he said that Magic the Gathering's revenues increased 30% in 2019 behind, quote, double-digit growth in tabletop play. And the first year of Magic the Gathering Arena digital revenues, which grew several-fold. So these are big, big numbers. Magic sales growth contributed to Hasbro's 6% increase in total gaming revenue to $1.53 billion for the year, up from $1.44 billion in 2018. Monopoly also had double-digit growth. That's the crappy part about the story, that Monopoly is still growing big. Anyway, in fact, Hasbro gaming sales without franchise brands Magic the Gathering and Monopoly, can't believe they use them in the same sentence, were down 10% for the quarter, with Dungeons & Dragons and classic game sales increases unable to offset declines in sales of novelty games Pie Face and Speak Out. D&D sales continue to be driven by video views. 150 million hours of D&D video content were viewed in 2019, up nearly 50% year on year. With those kinds of increases, it seems unlikely that the growth of D&D will stop, I guess it means, anytime soon. I had no idea. There's another content creator, I guess. They're not telling you who creates those videos, but that's a lot of videos for D&D that are out there. The increase in total gaming revenues for the year was despite a decline of 7.7% in Q4, with Magic sales undoubtedly part of that decline due to the tough comparisons with Ultimate Masters release in Q4 2018. Are you familiar with Ultimate Masters? Nope. Yeah, so I don't know that either, and that obviously is some kind of comparisons going on with Magic the Gathering. All right, so that's the story. So it was a big year in the end for Hasbro in general, and their hobby portion of it was quite good. That helps. Yeah,
I have to admit because there are some episodes when I brag about my brilliant predictions, and there are some episodes I have to humble say that I was wrong. So like, I think that 2 years ago or 1 year ago, I said that the Keyforge is getting so strong, and we knew about these millions of copies of Keyforge registered on the Fantasy Flight website, and I said that Magic is in trouble because Keyforge is getting so strong in America. And of course, I was wrong. Of course, Keyforge is super strong. It's absolutely successful game out there, but Magic the Gathering is getting stronger and stronger, and I have a chance to talk about the Magic the Gathering quite often because one of my employees is a huge fan of Magic the Gathering. So I have first-hand reports what Wizards of the Coast just did, these amazing pre-releases, this amazing website, this amazing Gathering Arena, this amazing expansion. So I have all this news firsthand, and I can see how these players are excited about these new products they are releasing. Magic is, we should say Magic is as strong as never before, even though this game is 25 years old. Kudos to Games Workshop growing, kudos to Wizards of the Coast making this Magic the Gathering for 25 years, being alive and growing and growing. Amazing developers, amazing product preparation and the concept and strategy for the growth of the whole line. So kudos for me. The one problem I see in this news is that I'm criticizing Monopoly every single podcast, and it increased and double-digit growth. Monopoly is bad, people. Remember, Monopoly is not a good game. Don't do double-digit growth.
Please don't. Hey, last story that we'll do today. Barnes & Noble had an awful Christmas, says their CEO.
That's a very strange quote.
This is interesting, and the last line of this is the most interesting part. U.S. bookstore chain Barnes & Noble had a pretty awful Christmas. That's a quote. New CEO James Daunt said of his first holiday season running the chain, according to British website iNews. But that was because there are parts that I've abandoned, he's explained. Interesting. He compared the situation of Barnes & Noble, which he took over in addition to his duties running British chain Waterstones in August, to Waterstones shortly after he started. It's Waterstones. It's as Waterstones was in 2011, which is not very good bookshops, but looking very nice, he said. It's a big mess. So it's very interesting that he is so honest about the way everything is looking for his new acquisition that he's running. Daunt is planning big changes for the U.S. bookseller, including ceding more control over assortments and displays to local managers, promoting titles based on curation decisions rather than promotional allowances. The final part of this article is that Barnes & Noble no longer reports full financial results, as it's no longer a publicly traded company. It's now part of Waterstones, and Waterstones is a private company, which is interesting. So we don't get to see, like, they've lost X millions of dollars, they did this, but we know they're not doing very good, which leads me to think that I have to be careful about all of my product placements over there if they're not doing very good. But anyway, will Barnes & Noble survive? I think that they've got a little bit of run left in that horse, because the new management essentially has got to see it through. They've got to try to make a go of it. So I can't see Barnes & Noble going out of business anytime soon. I can see them changing even more their structure and in the way they do things to continue to try to compete. But not a good fourth quarter for Barnes & Noble.
And not a very good moment for public relations and marketing at Barnes & Noble. I think these employees of public relations department were crying when they read the interview. That is disaster.
Probably were.
They should pray to Mr. James Daunt, please do not do any interviews in upcoming months. And that's I mean, on a serious note, these quotes, these are very bad for the branding of Barnes & Noble. Right? The boss should never say something like that about the company.
Yeah, that there's something to be said about honesty, and maybe there's something to be said about spinning it in a better way. Correct. Sometimes. Let's move over to our strategy and tactics section.
Strategy and tactics. Some advice for you from Board Games Insider.
All right, here we take questions from our Board Game Geek Guild. Make sure you post them in the right place. So Marcus Shepard, who's Marcus Shepard on BGG, there's something I'd like to hear your opinion about. As the industry grows, do you fear it will change the hobby and the community? As an example, there are regulatory questions about the copyright of games, from a designer perspective, not talking about counterfeits, the discussions mostly end with the conclusion that, quote, nobody in the industry would just steal somebody else's design. Do you think this might change as more people join the market who care less about games and profits? No, James, I don't. Again, there's such a glut of games in there, out there. It's a crazy amount of games, and we've talked about that. We have to retrench. We have to focus more on our key lines and bring out less games. So why would someone out there say like, "Oh, I'm just going to copy this other game here that's not popular or not too popular, and I'm going to bring it right out again"? I don't see that being an issue. Ignacy, do you see this changing at all with the growth?
In a general picture, for the question from Marcus, I fear, like he asked, if we fear that there'll be more people that might be dishonest, that might do something that we don't expect it, because for the past 20 years we were all buddies and friends. I love how you called your competitors, that you are friendly competitors, and we both want to sell games, but we are so fair play and we are so friendly, and we are doing it all together like a geeks doing businesses. And I fear that at some point, because the industry is growing, there will be people who are not geeks and who are not friendly competitors that will do something that will be very unexpected for us. So yes, I fear that we are reaching new people, and at some point there will be no more just geeks all around. So I fear, but well.
Okay, so I'll agree with that. With this many people, first of all, with the growth of the industry, the one horrible thing that's happened is that the counterfeiting has become like a very profitable thing. So these counterfeiters are getting away with murder right now, and I spent time this week stamping out additional counterfeiters, a significant amount of time working with legal people, and something's gonna come out of what I did this week that's gonna make the news.
Very good.
Let's put it that way. Yeah, it's still a big issue. And I'm going to say this again. I said this already on this podcast. Do not buy new games from eBay. Do not buy new games from random websites that are giving you deals that are too good to be true. Don't do it, because they're counterfeits. And they are cheating me, the publisher, Ignacy, and me, and all the publishers, and the designers. If you don't care about us, we're too big, we're big business. How about the designers who don't get their royalties based on that, right? So, don't do it. There you go. The bigger point there that I was trying to make is that, sure, there'll be more bad people that will come into the industry, but in the way that he's mentioning it, I don't believe that's the way it will manifest itself. He also mentions that Board Game Geek is the hobby's central repository, and it's wide open to manipulation. And he points out the ratings, the hotness, artificially push a game. I don't think that's the case either. Ignacy, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Yeah. So once again, I disagree with you, and I have a very interesting small case, but this is like an example for this question. Right now in Poland, there is voting for the best game. And this is sort of like in a Board Game Geek Golden Geek contest. So everybody in the internet, the geeks, can vote for the best games. And right now, the people who are organizing this whole contest informed that one of the publishers did a very aggressive, marketing to, hey, vote, everybody votes, and suddenly the game that nobody heard about it for the whole year, like some very small print run game, is winning the contest in terms of the votes for the best game, and everybody's surprised. Hey, it is very, very surprising. So on one hand, this small game, they are not cheating, they are not doing something illegal, but they came to the contest with this new approach that was not known among the geeks. They just made very aggressive marketing. Hey, we need your votes, please vote, please vote, please vote, and suddenly, maybe it will be the case that the Polish Golden Geek will be won by the game that nobody heard about it.
How many people, approximately, vote in the Polish Golden Geek, or whatever you call it, the Polish game of the? How many people vote? Approximately.
Yeah, at this moment, as these organizers said, they have like 4,000 votes.
Okay. How many people do you think vote on the Board Game Geek Golden Geek?
Like,
I bet the number is
100,000.
10, 20. Yeah. I mean, 100 times that number, right? I mean, it could be.
Yeah, but I'm just giving you an example that something absolutely unexpected among the geeks is happening. That somebody just says, "All my friends just vote for me," and suddenly, and the results are a little bit rigged, I would call, right?
Yes, I understand. The example that he was giving was, is it going to really hurt Board Game Geek, and can they manipulate on Board Game Geek? And I don't think enough. I don't think you can do it enough to manipulate Board Game Geek because it's so big and so diverse. That was my point. Let's move on. I guess we can argue about that one for a while. Jeremy Slayton, who is Jeremy Slayton on Board Game Geek, says, "Congrats, guys, on the upcoming 100 podcasts." He's 30 late, or we're 30 late on taking this. I started listening to the show about a year ago, but like the others, I binged and watched them all, listened to them all. My question, from the financial perspective, it'd be great for most companies within the industry to become or stay extremely profitable. Yes, it would. What inefficiencies, if any, do you think exist within the industry that hinders profitability? Where do you think innovations could occur so profitability increases for designers and publishers without the need for an increase in sales volume or sales price, which of course should be correlated to profitability? So where do you think we can become more efficient, Ignacy, to increase our profitability? I mean, when you think about it, there's only two ways to increase profit, right? You either increase your revenue or you decrease your cost. So where do you think we could do either or both of those? What do you think?
I wish I knew, Steven.
Yes, that's what I always say. Well,
yeah, there is so many costs in producing a game. So in terms of choosing the materials, choosing a way of shipping these to the warehouse, then choosing a warehouse, then choosing how you deliver the product to the distributors. Like on every single moment of every single process, we try to cut some costs to see where we can save some money. But I don't see, and probably I will be very rich if I find it, like a big phenomenal idea how we can make some cuts that will change the whole budget plan. But
yeah, so we're in an industry of making physical products. So how do you bring down costs when you do so? If you increased print run sizes, sure, your individual unit cost is going to go down, but you take bigger risks when you do that. So you really can't do that, especially in this market. We've talked about that a lot. At the merged company of Indie Game Studios, Stronghold Games and Indie Boards and Cards, merging in 2018, we had, at the moment when we did that, plus even a little bit after that, we had staffed up, and we have since then retrenched a little bit because we had overlapping responsibilities in this. So we are slightly less numbers of people now in the company than we were within the first few months, 5 months maybe, of when we did merging. So that's one way of course, increasing profitability by lowering your salaries, salary base. So having less people on board. There are not a lot of ways to make this happen, to increase profitability, other than the standard ways that one would do in business. So we have to keep very high focus on the bottom line, the way you would in any industry that's in a tenuous place, a place where we're seeing problems with the numbers of games coming out and getting your game out there and making a hit. So we'll report back by the end of the year to see how the industry is stating and how our predictions have come out.
And if anybody has any innovation in mind, let us know. We'll consider.
We're happy to take any suggestions in that regard. Absolutely. So we have Eric Shearer, who's Popsicola on BGG. I've seen Eric out there. Hey, I've been listening since the start. Since his latest baby, gaming of all types has taken a backseat for me. I have, however, started playing idle games where you log in now and then and do some maintenance, but most of the game plays itself. So I guess he's talking about online gaming that you kind of just set up, you play, and you go away. I know some of those games. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. You don't have to do much except set your economy up, so to speak. Do you think we can incorporate this gameplay into the board game world? Seems crazy, right? Yes, Eric, it does. Well, if during an AP player's turn, my farms and mines were slowly producing goods, now when it comes back to my turn, I'm not nearly as mad that it took 20 minutes.
I tell you this, Eric is my friend now. I totally understand his pain. He understands my pain. I'm a very impatient player, so I'm really getting very crazy if somebody is doing AP moves. So I would love to have such a mechanism. I may introduce something like that in our future games, that for all these AP players, everybody else at the table has some bonuses. I love this idea.
How about that, Eric? You might have just given Ignacy the idea, a way of potentially making a great
you can do it in a roll
change in his game.
You can do it in a roll and write the game. When somebody is doing some AP moves, you can roll and write something on your board, and then you get some bonuses if you manage to draw. If you manage to draw 5 cows, you have a bonus, for example.
I like. This has a lot of potential. What if there's a timer in the game, and one that you can't even see, like a sand timer, like an actual timer, and it's ticking off. And all of a sudden, if it goes bing, and the player hasn't finished their turn, everyone gets a gold or a piece of wood or whatever you're collecting in that game. Ooh, I like it. Ignacy, start designing.
Yep.
All right, let's go over to the play testing segment where we question you.
Play testing, where Ignacy and Steven question you.
So my question today for Steven and for our listeners is very simple, and this is a conclusion from my experiences from the last weekend. I was preparing to play the game called On Mars from Vital Lacerda. Amazing game. I strongly recommend to everybody. But I started learning this game 2 p.m. on Saturday, and we started playing this game 6 p.m. this very Saturday. So it took me 6 hours. It took me 5 hours to finally process the whole rule book, and I watched the videos, and I was reading, and then I was once again watching videos, because it's a very difficult game. But my question today is how you learn games. If you go to watch it played, for example, videos, of if you go to whole gameplay, so you want to see somebody playing the game, or you are just preferring just reading as everybody else did back then before watch it played. So Steven, how you learn the games, and of course the question also for our fans.
Of course. How do I learn games? Well, I get my friends to teach me the game.
You're lazy, Steven.
Because I got to admit, I am lazy, and I don't learn great from I'm more of a visual learner. I remember in college that I would go to every class. I never missed class. Unless I'm sick, dying, something happened. I go to class because I want to see what the professor is going to present and how he presents it, and I learn best like that. And I don't learn best by just reading a textbook and to learn the subject matter. So that directly comes out to games. Going to a rule book is much harder for me. If I was going to do it more often, if I needed to learn the rules, the games more often, yeah, I think going to the videos that are out there, especially for popular games, of course, going to the Rodney Smith How to Play. Oh my God, he's so good. He's so handsome too. I hate him. He's really, really good at what he does. So I highly recommend the Rodney Smith How to Play videos, and other people out there that are doing similar types of things to do. Ignacy, you're basically a rulebook guy?
So I watch Rodney Smith, and then I browse to the rulebook, and then I start to play with Mary, and then I read, when we play, I check some details. But I am all in for a video, for somebody teaching me how to play. When I see the rulebook for the game, I'm already sleeping, so it's not going well for me.
There you go. Also going to put a shout out to my friends at the Dicey Review. They do how to play videos as well, and they do all the Stronghold game stuff. We just send them games. They love doing it for us too.
We appreciate everybody who puts out such a content, because it helps so much all the gamers.
Thank you, Paul Marchbanks at the Dicey Review, for doing that. All right, for anybody else, tell us how you learn games by going to the Board Game Geek Guild and find the playtesting segment. Ignacy's going to put up a special post.
Correct.
Right, Ignacy?
Correct.
Special post right now, as soon as we finish, and you tell us in there how you go through it, if you have any other ideas. So thank you Thank you all for participating in the show by doing that. Let's go to the final scoring.
And we must do it very fast because in about 2 or 3 minutes my wife will be back at home and all my dogs start yelling, or how you call it in English. So let's move on.
Yes, that's a pretty good way of putting it. Barking, but yelling is good too.
Final scoring. Here's how you can stay in touch with Ignacy and Steven.
Final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct forum on the Board Game Geek Guild. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page. Please go check it out. Of course, we have our own company Facebook pages, /Stronghold Games, /Portal Publishing. Here they go. Here they go. I love the sounds. I love it. We're going to keep going anyway.
Of course.
Company websites, strongholdgames.com, portalgames.pl, and portalgamesus.com. I love hearing dogs. That's great. Go check us out there. On social media, talk directly to Steven and Ignacy at Stronghold Games and at ChevyCheck. Same on Instagram. We both have YouTube channels. So many conventions were coming up at. Ignacy, you want to mention any conventions you're going to be at, or you're taking a little bit of a break, right?
I will be a special guest of honor tomorrow at the Doctor.
Oh, well, I hope that goes well.
Me too.
I'm sorry. Yeah. If you guys want a podcast of your own to be edited, Matthew Jude from This Game Is Broken podcast, he'd like to talk to you. Reach out to him at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, anything else you want to make an announcement about?
No, I'm fine.
Any news?
If you have anything, let us know, but I have nothing secret today.
Nothing secret from me either. But by the way, I'll start getting some good secret. I probably should have put it down here instead. But anyway, so you got something secret out of me at least. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again in a week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Board Games Insider with Ignacy ChevyCheck and Steven Bonacore. Board Games Insider has been made possible by you, our listeners and hobby board game enthusiasts. Ignacy and Steven thank you greatly for your support of their companies and the hobby board game industry. Follow both Portal Games and Stronghold Games on Twitter, like both companies on Facebook, and sign up for their newsletters on portalgames.pl and strongholdgames.com. Please join us next time on Board Games Insider.
You're listening to the Dice Tower Network, the home of smart people, insightful board gaming commentary, and Ignacy ChevyCheck. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com. Network.com.